Lovely, thank you very much. Welcome to the Chelsea Football FanCast, fuelled by Guinness, powered by Celery, and the show that is happy that it is Blue Monday. And I am Stamford Chidge, and funnily enough, the name of tonight's show is, in fact, the Chelsea Football FanCast, Blue Monday. That's right. Apparently, Blue Monday is the most depressing day of the year, but not if you're a Chelsea supporter, having witnessed Chelsea batter Man Yanited the day before. Now, we suggest that Blue Monday is, in fact, in honour of us and our lovely win yesterday, and we, of course, will be talking all about it in the show tonight. But before we get to that, joining me tonight, we have Pablo.
Hello, you're right.
You jumped then. What do you think I was going to do?
I don't know.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just getting used to being on the opposite side of the table.
You are. I like to mix it up. It's kind of my rotation,
yeah.
Tactical rotation.
Yeah, so.
That's what it is. So there you go.
Yeah.
Was that the first time in your life you've ever been on the right wing?
For a minute I thought you were going to say, is that the first time in his life he'd ever been rotated? But we'll ponder that. We have back amongst the throng. He's been away. I have missed him like a brother. I have. Darren, how are you?
I'm very well. It's been 5 weeks since I've been sat here.
5 weeks? That long? I know, it seems a long time, man. It's good to have you back.
Yeah,
in your OC Hooligans t-shirt.
Well, two of them were over for the match.
They were indeed. We saw Rayman and Tom Motherway, didn't we, yesterday? Be very careful how I say Tom Motherway, obviously. But it was great to see them. They are lovely. And they won't be watching because they're probably still on a flight. But yeah, it's great to see them. Now, last but by no means least, we have one of my favourite people in the universe. He is well known to us, and he is Dan Levene from the Fulham Chronicle, known to many, of course, on Twitter as at Blues Chronicle. Dan, how are you?
Brilliant. I never knew you cared so much.
I do. I love you like a brother. I love you slightly more than Darren, but only slightly. Okay, so I don't want any favouritism to creep in at all. Now, what you won't know, unless you were watching the show last week, Dan, is that we now, in honour of the fact that we have 4 brilliant Brazilians, if that's not, what's the word for alliterative, isn't it? Brilliant Brazilians. We've now adopted Brazilian names. And I've done a little bit of research on the Shonky website where I discovered this, much to my utter delight last week. Okay. And we've discovered that Dan Levene in Brazilianese is something like this. There you go. Levanaro. What do you think of that?
Can't I be Lavinho?
No, you're Levanaro, mate. That is how it is. You can take it up with Davy, hopefully, later. Okay. Who we're hopefully going to speak to.
Does Darren know what his is?
No, I don't yet.
You don't know what yours is?
No, I don't.
Oh, yours is Mantelson. Yours is really dull. We haven't got it in the system, so we can't show you. Oh, I don't know. Can we? We can't. But trust me, it was boring. You had the most boring one.
Yeah, it doesn't sound it.
He kept everybody's but yours, apparently he's telling me, because yours was the most boring. But it was Mantel's son, and I just thought, I'm Chijundo, he's Jeffrino, and Chadder is Chadinoza. Talking of Chadinoza... See, that's the cue. So there we go. Talking of Chadinoza, we've got the benches this week with my great mate Chelsea Chadder, or as I said, Chadinoza. How are you, fella?
Very well, sir. And yourself?
I'm very, very well. Now, who have we got on the benches this week? I recognise some of them.
Yeah, as always, we've got your favourite chef, Andy.
Lovely.
Just behind him, we've got one Harry Baker. There's only one Harry Baker. We've got Dan behind me.
Dan back. Lovely.
And Gaffer's back in the house today.
Gaffer's in the house too. I'm loving it. Now we've got a lovely-looking gentleman on your right with a very nice flat cap.
Yes.
I know who this is. Really, I'm mucking about, as it were. We've got Dennis on the benches, and Dennis, hello mate. Dennis is all the way from Toronto. Now, Dennis bugged me for a ticket for the match for months and months and months. I singularly failed to deliver, and he basically ended up getting one through the people that we daren't mention. They begin with V, all right? Anyway, who should be sitting pretty much in front of me yesterday but Dennis? I mean, how weird is that? And I took a photograph. This is now, forgive me if I'm wrong, Dennis, is this your first match at the Bridge?
First match at the Bridge.
I've got a photograph of you. Annoyingly, you were sitting next to Paul Bench's 50p, but, so you must have had a bit of a tough time. But isn't that brilliant? I shall let you have that. Did you like that?
I totally loved it.
And did you like the match? Did you enjoy the match?
Thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't even have words to describe it.
I mean, your first match at Stamford Bridge, and you see us batter the Manx. I mean, that is wonderful.
Can't ask for anything better.
I love that. Brilliant stuff. Now, so there we go. We've got a very, very packed benches this week. In fact, it is tiered seating this week, Pablo. I just want to say to them on the benches, no persistent standing. Otherwise, we will give your names to the police mafia at Stamford Bridge. They know who they are, and you will be banned. because that's how it works at Stamford Chidge. And that's about as political as I'm prepared to get. Right, now, we should move on. If you want to be on the benches, then all you have to do is send us an email to chelseafancast@gmail.com, and you have to write an essay as to why you think you deserve to be on the benches, and then I will mark it with red pen, and then we will decide. But don't wait up, because I will take time over it. Now, if you can't get on the benches and you're listening to the show and you want to have a bit of fun with us, all you have to do is follow us on Twitter Chelsea FanCast, or of course you can follow us and listen to us live, in fact, at mixlr.com/Chelsea-FanCast, and you can interact with Chadinoza and post stuff that will enlighten us and him. Now, on tonight's show, we are going to be looking back, of course, at the win against Yanited yesterday, and we'll be awarding our man of the match, chart of the match, Guinness and celery moments in the Fannies, and we've also got a bumper edition of You're on CFFC later on, where I hope we will be speaking to the wonderful Tony Glover from the Podding Shed. You might know him as @GrocerJack. I think it's @GrocerJack UK, but we will find out later. They do the Podding Shed podcast. It's brilliant fun, much better than this, in fact. And of course, we hopefully will have Davi from Brazil, who will correct us on our bad spellings of our Brazilian names. So much on the show tonight. If you want to have a bit of debate with us or ask a question, all you have to do is do it via Twitter or Mixlr with Chadder. And of course, if you want to Skype us, it is chelsea.fancast. Goodness gracious me, we should talk about some football, I suppose. Yeah, it'd be great fun to do so this week because we beat United. So let's have a look at the old stingage. See, there you go. That is, in fact, actually how you pronounce and spell Man United. For all of the doubters out there, it is Yanited, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite good.
That's for real, isn't it?
That's how they sing it, yeah.
Okay.
Is that how they pronounce it in Surrey?
Well, they do, because they have... You have Mockneys. I think we have Mankneys down in Surrey.
Good.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mankney. All right, now, somebody's not here with us this week. In fact, it is Ross Mooring, or Morero, as we now know him as. I think Morero is a bit sickio this week, so he's pulled a sickio. But he's a good boy. He's done his homework. He sent us his Ross's ratings. And this is what they look like this week. OK, we have Cech, he gets 6. Ivanovic, 7. Cahill, 8. Terry, 7. Aspilicueta, or Aspilicueta if you prefer, he gets 6. Luiz gets 5. Ramirez gets 6. Willian, 7. Oscar, 7. Hazard, 7. And then Eto'o, 000, gets 8, 8, 8. Mikel gets 6 and Torres gets 6. Matic doesn't deserve anything because he didn't play long enough. I think that's kind of Ross's rule, isn't it, Pablo? If you don't get on for enough, you don't get any points.
Seems fair.
My first question, I wish he was here to justify this. Why is he only given Luiz 5?
I reckon, knowing how Ross thinks, it'll be because he was a bit of a liability again, really. Because so often you see him getting a yellow card in the first half, totally needlessly, and that means that if he had the brains, he'd be kind of like having to be
Jeffrey
more cautious
Boycott
about the
would
game.
say
Like,
he's got the brains of a chocolate bar, or whatever he says.
yeah, something like that. But it doesn't help the team, and I can understand the frustration. Naturally, he was quite lucky not to be off in that first half, which would have severely hampered.
See, I mean, we'll talk
Really.
about it later. I actually enjoyed him barging
Oh
Valencia
yeah,
into the East Stand.
it's fun, but it's the same with him hoofing the ball up in the air. It doesn't help the team in the slightest.
I know.
He's a liability.
I think you take football far too seriously.
Want
Where's
to
your
win.
sense of enjoyment?
He knew he wasn't going to get sent off in the first half, and if Mourinho thought he was going to get sent off, he'd have brought him off. So I think he knew.
You think he would have pulled him off at half time?
Yeah.
You deserve that? Okay, as long as you're
I
happy
thought
with
maybe he was just doing his bit to revive Chelsea's glorious history by impersonating Doug Brookby.
Yes! A round of applause for Doug. A Doug Ruby mention. And we're not even 10 minutes in, Dan. There we go. I mean, OK, fair. I actually thought he did quite well. I thought he was quite energetic. He gave, he gave a lot of speed to the midfield. I think he bossed the midfield. United were nowhere. I mean, let's face it, in midfield, but there we go. Eto'o, I mean, you can't say fairer than getting a hat-trick. I think he deserves his 8 from Ross, doesn't he?
I don't see how he could have only been on an 8, to be honest. He had 3 chances, he scored 3 goals.
There you go. It's 100% in my
exactly
book.
what you want from a
He had
striker.
a couple of
really.
other ones which he actually, I think, because he scored 3, he didn't want to keep shooting. He had a couple where he tried too hard to lay off instead of just going for another.
He set up Oscar's attempted overhead kick as well.
Yeah.
Didn't he? I don't think he put a foot wrong, to be honest.
The other thing I noticed very quickly is that he's given Cahill an 8. Of course, Cahill had 2 assists and I thought played brilliantly. I would have given Cahill a 9 had he actually punched Raphael and knocked him spark out like the little... That's so difficult when you can't swear on the show. But, you know, the little Brazilian, there you go, the little Brazilian out. He deserved to be smacked right in the mush and spark out in my book. And then I would have given Cahill 9, Dan, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. Cahill came up with quite a nice line afterwards as well. He said, you know, I don't care, you can come and tackle me as hard as you like, but make it legal, mate. You
know, just to show that there is a bit of debate out there, I know I've nicked this from Chadder, but actually I'm going to talk to Chadder about it now. Chadder, they're all actually kind of agreeing with us on a lot of things here about Louise. I've got, like, Clive Lewis says, I didn't think Louise had a good game. Jack Joubert said, I thought Louise was pretty decent yesterday. Diane said, Louise 5, question mark. So they're actually on my side here. Well, I mean, what do you think, mate?
You know,
what benches think?
I was saying to Andy earlier, I thought 5 was very low for somebody who kind of didn't really allow United to come through that middle that often, and I thought he looked quite imposing in that middle, really.
He was up against Phil Jones, who actually have to say the
greatest gurner in the world.
The complete character assassination of him on Match of the Day last night was pretty hilarious.
Do you know
actually.
what? You know, I think all we can conclude from this is that basically Pablo and Ross are the most miserly, miserable people in the world. You know, but we knew that anyway, didn't we, Darren?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's nice to have happy people back on the show, you know.
Only thing I'll say about Eto, and you need to be careful about, is when Louis got booked, he wouldn't stop the referee. Although Ramirez came over, and I think Oscar did, Eto put his hands on the referee, and then even when the referee went off, he sort of clapped like that to afterwards. And I just thought the referee might have even booked him though, because he wouldn't get off him.
Well, it was Phil Dowd. I mean, you know, I'd like to lay more than a few hands on him.
He was probably just grateful for the rest, though, wasn't he?
He probably was, actually. He still looks as fat as he normally does. Much as I'd love to keep chuntering on about this, I think it's time that we went to break and then talk more football afterwards. That would be novel, wouldn't it? We will see you in a minute.